Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another marvelous episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. I'm your host, that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, half phenomenal, half awesome, fresh off a trip from the city of Boston, no cap, straight facts, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. But it's not about me. You see, we have a special event this weekend. You know, it's actually one of AEW's big five events. And I'm talking about AEW All Out. And let me tell you, I'm excited because each of these matches has been built up perfectly. I'm looking forward to seeing what each of them brings. And man, trust me when I say, you whether you like AEW Dynamite and Collision, you have to admit you cannot deny that their pay-per-views are on point. You cannot deny that their pay-per-views are memorable. So with that being said, what we're gonna do is actually go ahead and give our predictions. Well, myself, I'm gonna give my predictions for this card. And if you have any predictions of your own, by all means, go ahead and drop them in the comment section below, and I will definitely highlight them as well. Because like I said, we here at Ringside Society, we always encourage fan interaction. It's something that we always, don't mind having. It's something that we don't mind having. And, we made this for our fellow wrestling fans, this whole podcast, this whole media platform for our fellow wrestling fans. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. So we have AEW All Out. We have 13 great matches, magnificent matches, and AEW this time is actually emanating from the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Shout out to the great folks, up there in Toronto. Hopefully, I will actually be able to make it out there next week because, of course, as most of you know, um, I'm actually doing currently what I'm currently doing right now is a um, MLB ballpark tour. MLB, for those of you that don't know, is the Major League Baseball of America and Toronto, Canada. And Toronto has Rogers Center, which is the home of the, I believe, two-time or three-time World Series champs, the Toronto Blue Jays. And I used to live in Toronto. For those of you that don't know, I used to live in Toronto for roughly like a year and a half. So I'm excited to go back. It's been years, it's been decades since I've been back there, and I'm looking forward to going back and checking it out, and also taking some great photos. I'm also a photographer on the side as well, so looking to get into that. But that's another story for another time. But yes, we got AEW All Out emanating from Scotiabank Arena, 13 great matches, and three of those matches are going to be on the pre-show. Man, hey, that's one thing. That's one thing I like about AEW. They always make sure they whet your appetite before getting into the main show, which is something that I really appreciate and everything. WWE, they used to do it, and this is not a WWE versus AEW band. Like I said, me personally, I'm not pro AEW, I'm not pro WWE, I'm pro wrestling. And I just missed when WWE used to give you like a pre-show or two. They used to give you a pre-show match or two to get you excited for the main card, but teach their own. But we have three of those matches on the pre-show, and so the first one we have up is going to be an 8-woman tornado tailgate brawl, and it's going to be the team of Harley Cameron, Mina Shirakawa, Queen Aminata, and Willow Nightingale versus Megan Bain, Penelope Ford, and the Triangle of Madness, two of the members from that stable, and they're going to be Julia Hart and Sky Blue. And I take it Thekla, who is the third member of that trio, that stable, is going to be somewhere ringside. But eight woman tornado tailgate brawl. So what I'm assuming is that this is going to be a match where everybody is fighting everywhere. all wrestlers are going to be, it's like a tornado tag team match. All wrestlers are going to be, allowed in the ring at the same time, no tags whatsoever. And, it's whoever scores the first pinfall will win. So, um, so who I think is going to win this match? Wow. Honestly speaking, man, the Triangle of Madness, they've been killing it recently since they became a stable. Megan Bain is no joke. She has been like, I jokingly call her the female Brock Lesnar of AEW. Penelope Ford is there too. And but at the same time, you got on the other side, you have Hardy Cameron, who's hella entertaining, Mina Shirakawa, who had a great match against Athena a couple weeks ago at Death Before Dishonor for Ring of Honor. You got Queen Aminata, who is, coming into her own name. She's definitely, becoming her own person. And you have Willow Nightingale, who can definitely throw down with the best of them. But I'm going to have to give this win to Megan Bain. I think they're going to pull it off. There's just so much power on that side. And like I said, all four of those women, even Penelope Ford, who has been, a great tag team partner for Megan Bain, she's been killing it as well, too. So I'm gonna have to go with Megan Bain, Penelope Ford, and the Triangle of Madness. They're gonna pull out this W. They're gonna get that dub and move on to better greater things. Not saying that the other team's not gonna, but tonight's gonna be their night. So the next match we have is a singles match. It's gonna be the newest member of the Death Riders, Daniel Garcia. Man, I didn't even see that. I didn't really see that coming, but the man's hella talented. He's going to be facing off against 1/3 of the Ops, Katsuyori Shibata. This is going to be one of Daniel Garcia's biggest tests. And this is going to be a test of his endurance because for those of you that don't know, Katsuyori Shibata is no joke. In New Japan Pro Wrestling, this man was one of the most, man, I can't even find the words to describe, but if you want to test your stamina in pro wrestling, this is the guy you face. And this is going to be one of Daniel Garcia's biggest challenges. Man, this is kind of hard to call because, like I said, Daniel Garcia is coming to his own, but Katsuyori Shibata, this is the man that would sit down and let you chop him. And then he would chop you back. And most times, he came out on the winning end. Man, who would win this match? You know what? Daniel Garcia has he has the Death Riders on his side. Katsuyori Shibata has the Ops. I'm gonna go with Daniel Garcia. I think he's gonna find a way to pull this off. He has a new attitude now. He's with the Death Riders. I think he's gonna find a way to get this W. So I'm gonna go with Daniel Garcia to get the win. Okay, so the next match we have is a tag team match, the third and final match of the pre-show. It's going to be the Ops, the other members of the Ops, Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs versus the Workhorsemen, which are the team of Anthony Henry and JD Drake. In all honesty, if you ask me, the Workhorsemen, they are low-key a great tag team. And I hope they get more shine on them in the near future. I know people talk trash about the AEW tag team scene and whatnot, but they have a lot of great hitters over there too. They have a lot of great tag teams. I mean, you got, of course, the Workhorsemen. You have the Outrunners, who are hella hilarious. They're hella entertaining. You have the new team of I guess Austin Gunn and Juice Robinson. You have so many great tag teams there. And the Workhorsemen, they're going to be that tag team to watch. Trust me. Give them like next year, they're going to be that tag team to watch. And plus, they have that new guy. I don't know if he's an official workhorseman, but um, Adam Priest, yeah, I would definitely be watching out for these guys. But I'm gonna go with the Ops picking up the win. Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs, they have a lot of experience on their side, not just individually, but as a tag team. They've been together longer, I believe. So, I'm definitely gonna go with, the Ops to pick up this win. Although I would not be upset if the Workhorsemen picked up this W. I would not be upset. I would actually be like, okay, that's cool. That's y'all got the upset, y'all. Now y'all definitely gonna be looked at even more now. I would not be. I'd be like, wow, that's hella impressive, you know. But I got the Ops to win this one. So the next match. So now we're on to the main card. Main card, the one that everybody's going to be watching. The one that's everybody's going to be on the edge of their seat for. So we have um the first match we have on the card is going to be two friends who have finally reunited. Has given what two best friends who have finally given the people what they want. And I'm not talking about Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. I'm talking about Edge and Christian, or WWE, please don't sue me for copyright infringement. I'm talking about Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, and they'll be facing off against Adam Copeland's former friends, FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Hartwood. Hmm. This is going to be a hard one to call because both teams have hell experience. And man, I mean, everybody knows, Edge and Chris. Well, look at me calling the guy Edge and Chris. Look at me calling the guy Edge. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, they have a long running friendship. I'm talking like since these guys were like, I think seventh graders or they were in middle school. They have a long friendship. You know, they've been up, they've been down. They've had their ups and downs. Both have gone on to become singles champions in their right. Um, wow, this is gonna be this is gonna be something. But I'm gonna actually give this one to FTR. FTR is gonna pick up the win. I gotta, and the reason why I say FTR is gonna pick up the win is because I have a feeling that the rivalry, the feud they had with the patriarchy or whatever that stable was called, with Mama Wayne and Nick Wayne and um Kill Switch and geez, who's the other guy? Look at me forgetting people now. Um Kip Sabian. My bad, Kip. I'll try to remember your name next time. But with Kip Sabian, in all honesty, I don't think, in all honesty, I don't think that feud is over. I really and truly doubt that feud is over. So I'm gonna give the win to FTR. They're gonna pick up the win, courtesy of an interference by the patriarchy. I think that's what's gonna happen. So that's what I'm going with. But although, like I said, it's great to see them reunited. It's great to see them. And on a side note, I hope that before Adam and Christian call it quits, I hope that they have one more match left. And I know this might be impossible, but I hope they have one match left to go up against the major bros or the major players, the team of Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. I would like to see that match happen because that would definitely be like I guess a coming of age or passing of the torch match because Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, when they were known as Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder respectively, they were actually in a stable with Adam Copeland, who was then known as Edge. As a matter of fact, that was their main roster debut, was, them aligning with, Adam Copeland at the time. So I would like to see that happen before they call it quits. But yeah, FTR for the win. So the next match we have is a trios match. Man, this honestly, when I see this match here, the build up of this match, this is something out of Carlito's way. Now, um, for those of you that haven't seen Carlito's Way, I apologize. I don't normally like spoiling movies, but there in Carlito's Way, it's about Carlito who got locked up, and with the main character who got locked up. He's played by Al Pacino, and he got locked up, and he got back out on the. He got released from jail. He's back out on the streets, but things have kind of changed. I mean, he was into crime, but of course, there's new players now, and there was one up and coming guy he met. I It was played by, I forgot what the character's name was, but he was actually played by um John Leguizamo. And hold on, let me see if I can find his name. I don't want to get his name. I don't want to get his name wrong, but oh, I was going to say Benny Blanco, but yeah, I was right. Benny Blanco. So Benny Blanco was an up and coming gangster who wanted to I guess he wanted to ally with Carlito, or I guess he looked up to Carlito, but Carlito just like shrugged him off, right? In the end, when Carlito's getting away from some henchmen who want to take him out, he ends up running into Benny Blanco, who um actually has now came into his own, and Carlito's own henchman was it revealed that he was working for Benny Blanco, and Benny Blanco proceeds to shoot Carlito, and that leads to his demise. Um, when I see this rivalry between the Gates of Agony and the Hurt Syndicate, that's what that reminds me of. It's Carlito's Way. So yes, the next match we have that I'm talking about is what we have right there. It's going to be a trios match. Um, it's going to be the Hurt Syndicate, which is the stable of Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and a returning for one night only MVP versus Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. In this, like I said, MVP is Carlito, and Ricochet is Benny Blanco. So that's what I see this as. And it just goes to show that you never, sometimes you just got to give people a chance. You never turn them down because you think you're too good. So who do I think is going to win this match? And it's funny because they didn't want Ricochet in WWE, but then they wanted him in AEW to join their team, and then they were like, "Nah, we don't want you. Nah, we don't want you here anymore. You're done." And he's like, "Okay," and then he went and got his own crew, and an impressive crew. I saw that Toa Leone match against Bobby Lashley. That man actually matched Bobby Lashley. I don't think Bobby Lashley's gonna want that smoke again. But yeah, this is definitely gonna be a match to watch. I've always enjoyed watching MVP's matches. I tell you this, man, MVP is the world champion that should have been. That man is magic on the mic. I would say that he is one of the best talkers on the mic, and he's from Miami, so it's not surprising. He's from Miami. Shout out to the good folks in Miami. Shout out to you know, my homeboy, my A1 day one in Ringside Society, Chris Cartwright, he's from there. And also our other alumni guest, 15 Minutes of Fandom guest, Salvador Santoyo, they're from Miami. So I'm not surprised that he's that good. He has that Miami vibe. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna I'm definitely gonna go. I'm gonna have to go with Ricochet and the Gates of Agony for this one. I think they're gonna pull it off, and they're gonna actually get that W. And you know, this match is just the start of a feud. It's not gonna be the end. So I'm gonna definitely go with Ricochet and the Gates of Agony pulling off the win. The next match we have is a singles match for the AEW TBS Championship. It's gonna be the defending champion, the CEO Mercedes Moné versus the former a former AEW Women's World Champion. As a matter of fact, not just a former, the inaugural AEW Women's World Champion, Riho. Man, in all honesty, this is going to be a great match. And I like what they've been doing with, Mercedes Moné recently. It's not the best, in my opinion, but it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. The whole belt collector thing, I don't know how I feel about it, but I mean, AEW is going to do what they think is best for their company. And I always tell people, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Go watch something else. But I don't see Mercedes Moné losing, so I'm gonna definitely go with Mercedes Moné retaining. She's gonna get this win. But if she does lose, I hope it ends up leading to her getting another shot at AEW Women's World Championship. I hope that's what we're gonna see. So the next match we have is a coffin match. Woo! Man, I haven't seen one of these since the days of The Undertaker. But we have a coffin match. And basically, for those of you that don't know, those of you that are new to wrestling, a coffin match is basically where the winner is the person who puts their opponent into the coffin and slams the lid shut. I've seen many of these. They've been very interesting. I remember the first one I saw was Undertaker versus Kamala at Survivor Series 1992. I would never forget that one. But the competitors in this match are Darby Allin, whose special move is called the coffin drop, versus Jon Moxley. Darby Allin has been wanting this match for the better part of a year, maybe even for 2 years now. And now it's finally come down to this. And this man is going at Jon Moxley with a vengeance. And Jon Moxley is no slouch either. This man is not afraid to bleed. I don't think, honestly speaking, I'm gonna have to go with Darby Allin to get this win. There is nothing else they can do to this man. They have brutalized this man so much. Like, the only thing left to do is kill this man in, figurative. Hold on. YouTube, please do not flag this video. The only thing left, I think they could do is, unalive, delete this man. And I don't think his time has come yet for that. Figuratively speaking, I'm speaking figuratively, not literally. I forgot you can't say certain words, due to YouTube and all that. I don't think there's anything else they could do to this man besides delete him. And I don't think, that's going to be a thing. I don't think it's going to happen tonight. So Darby Allin's going to get that one. He's going to hit that coffin drop. Jon Moxley is donezo. That's it. That's what I'm going with. Darby Allin. So the next match we have is a tables and thumbtacks match. It's kind of like a tongue twister there. And it's going to be Mark Briscoe, the Sussex County Chicken, versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. Woo! You know what I like with this? I like how, Mark Briscoe has been coming into his own lately as a singles wrestler. Back in the days, he was a tag team wrestler. He was like the funnier brother out of him and Jay and the Briscoes. He was like the Marlon Wayans. Back, he was like Marlon Wayans back then, and like Jay was like Sean. But now it's like when you look at things now, it's like Mark Briscoe went from like Marlon Wayans on the Wayans brothers acting all goofy to like Marlon Wayans in the new movie. I think it's called Him or He Is Him. I don't know what it is, which is I think in theaters by now, by the way. But that's what I see when I see Mark Briscoe. Now that man has come into his own, and I like that for him because he always had the charisma. He always had the charisma, and you know that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing right now, and you know I like this for him. I like that. I like that he's getting these matches against people like MJF. Um, and MJF of course has always been that guy. He does not give a damn. He says whatever he wants to say. Has no chill. But yeah, this match is gonna be a crazy one. We have two men who have been in this situation before. But it's also fun to see MJF because MJF is not the suit wearing guy now. You see this guy coming out in a wife beater and jeans and taped up fists, like he's Triple H's son. It's interesting to see that. I think Mark Briscoe is going to pull this off, though. Mark Briscoe is going to get his get back. He's gonna actually get the win here against MJF, and I'm hoping eventually he gets to become either AEW TNT champion or maybe even AEW World Champion. He's good. He's good for it. I could see him doing that. But I'm gonna go with Mark Briscoe to get this win. The next match we have is a four-way match for the AEW Women's World Championship. It's gonna be the defending champion, Timeless Tony Storm, versus Jamie Hayter, versus Chris Statlander, versus the third member of the Triangle of Madness, which we spoke about earlier, Thekla. Man, let me tell you, these women are all amazing in their own right. And I like what they've actually done for themselves. I love the stuff that Tony Storm has been doing. It has me cracking up. I mean, she said, "The trot up you can't wallop, the whore you all adore, the skank you want to oh geez, man." When I first heard that, and this was not the first time she said it before, and I just had to, and this doesn't normally happen to me, but I just had to stop what I'm doing and just laugh because I'm like, Tony, oh geez, this woman has me cracking up. Oh gee, you know what? I will admit, hands down, she is my favorite wrestler. I'm gonna admit it. I'm not gonna deny it. She's my favorite. She's my favorite wrestler. I like everything that she does. This woman is my favorite. My favorite wrestler in AEW, Tony Storm. You know what? Man, I'm going to say this. Oh, geez. But this is hard. Jamie Hayter's done her own thing, too. Chris Statlander, each of these women have their own character that somebody could, pretty much, vibe to and whatnot. But I'm going to go with Tony retaining. Tony's going to retain. I don't see her losing this championship in a four-way. Although it'll be great to actually see her, say, well, I never lost, I never got pinned for my championship. I want it back, and see her chase it again. But I don't see Timeless Tony Storm losing, so I'm gonna go with Tony Storm for the win. Okay, so now the next match on this card. Don't worry, folks. We have like only four more matches, and that's it. So the next match we have on this card is a singles match for the AEW. Or maybe this is not. You know what? Let me leave that match for last. So the next match we have on this card actually is going to be next. I'm gonna leave that match and I'm gonna go to the next one. The next match we have is a three-way match for the AEW Unified Championship, and it's going to be the defending champion, the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada versus the Alpha Konosuke Takeshita versus Mascara Dorada, who, by the way, although he might be the least known to people who don't watch CMLL, is hella entertaining. I saw his match against Claudio Castagnoli. Amazing. I'm gonna go with Kazuchika Okada retaining. However, this match right here, because we've been seeing it, we've been seeing Kazuchika Okada and Konosuke Takeshita butting heads. So I am going to go with Kazuchika Okada retaining. However, we will see a Kazuchika Okada versus Konosuke Takeshita match 1-on-1 as a result of this match. That's what I'm gonna go with. So Kazuchika Okada is gonna retain, but this is not the end of that rivalry. We're gonna see a classic between these two, between the Rainmaker and the Alpha. Although, and with all due respect to Mascara Dorada, I gotta feel we're gonna see some amazing stuff from him too. The man is that damn good. The next match we have is a singles match, and it's gonna be Big Bill versus Eddie Kingston. Big Bill called out Eddie Kingston. We have two New Yorkers going head to head, mano y mano. Wow. Well, you know something? Big Bill. I like this. I like his evolution over the years. I remember when I first saw Big Bill, he was calling Cassidy and WWE, and he was paired with Enzo Amore, which is a duo I like better than what he has going on with Brian Keith. No slight to Brian Keith. He's good himself. He's good himself as well too. But to me, like Big Bill and Enzo, they just click better. But it is what it is. I like how he's actually what he's become now. And he's not the best on the mic, but he's doing his thing. And then you have Eddie Kingston, who has definitely shown that he can hang with the main eventers. Eddie Kingston, who is great on the mic as well, phenomenal on the mic. Whenever I see Eddie Kingston, what he reminds me, who he reminds me of, and y'all probably gonna laugh at me. For some reason, he reminds me of Kevin Steen, like a New York version of Kevin Steen. That's who he reminds me of. The same vibe they have and so on. That's who Eddie Kingston reminds me of. So, and I'm hoping that before he called it quits, he gets the whole AEW World Championship, because the man is that good. He's come a long way. So I'm gonna go with Eddie Kingston getting this win. We're gonna see some interference from Brian Keith, because obviously he's not gonna be that far behind. However, that's gonna be thwarted by a returning. Wait for it. Ortiz. That's right. Ortiz is gonna make his return as well at this show tonight. Not tonight, but on Saturday. And I'm gonna be all eyes for that, because Ortiz is just as great as he's just as good as Mike Santana, and I'm glad that Mike Santana is doing his thing too. But I'm hoping that Ortiz could get up there too as well. That'd be a very great thing, and show all the naysayers, because a lot of people, and the reason why I want that is because a lot of people are saying, oh, Ortiz is lazy and he's complacent. That's not, I'm not saying this, but that's what people have been saying. Like, he doesn't want to take a chance on himself and he just wants to sit back and get a paycheck. Okay, y'all gonna learn. I'm gonna laugh when that guy becomes a big solo star on his own. Trust me on that. You just have to find his niche, and he's good. So I'm gonna go Eddie Kingston getting that win. The next match we have is a 4-way ladder match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, and it's gonna be the defending champions, Brodito, which is the tag team of Brody King and Bandito, versus the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, versus Jet Speed, which is the tag team of Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, versus the Don Callis family, which is the tag team of Hechicero and Josh Alexander. And the reason why I just sighed is because Josh doesn't need to be in this match. Josh Alexander is great on his own. He doesn't need to be with the Don Callis family. Even Brandy Rhodes once said it when she met when she was talking to Ethan Page when all of them were in AEW and Josh was in TNA. She told Ethan Page, "The only reason why you're here is because we couldn't get Josh Alexander." So that goes to show the caliber of talent Josh Alexander is, the walking weapon is. And I'm hoping that eventually it leads to him having singles success in AEW. I was really hoping he would have gone to WWE and joined up with Ethan Page, because if that had happened, let me tell you, y'all think Ethan Page is brutal? Josh Alexander could be way worse. And I could tell you right now, it doesn't matter who has those tag team titles. It doesn't matter if it's the Judgment Day. It doesn't matter if it's the Wyatt Six. It doesn't matter if it's Dark State. Whoever faces the Monster Mafia, as I first knew them, or the North, those titles are gone. They got to be very careful. Because these two men together are, woo, man, let me tell you, they're up there with some of the best tag teams. But I guess Josh did what is best for him and his family, and he signed with AEW. Hopefully, we get to see him in WWE. But I'm just hoping that we get to see the Josh Alexander that we saw in TNA in AEW and wherever else he goes. But who I think is going to win this match? You know something? I'm gonna be crazy and say that I have a feeling the Young Bucks are going to pull off the win. They're going to find a way to pull off the win and get these tag team titles. They're going to find a way to redeem themselves. Although, if you look at them now, they're wearing the shiny, the new jackets and everything, right? And they got their music back and everything. They have enough money to pay the production guy to give them a proper entrance. I got a feeling this is going to lead to their rise back to the top. It's going to be winning these tag team titles. Brodito and Brodito, they're an exciting new tag team. Jet Speed just as well too. Don Callis family, they're one of the most ruthless factions in AEW. But I think this is going to be the Young Bucks moment. So I'm going to go with them getting the win. And the last match, the match of the night, the one that everyone will be watching, the main event. It's going to be a singles match for the AEW World Championship. And let me get to this before I get to the stipulations. It's going to be the defending champion, Hangman Adam Page, versus the Protostar, Kyle Fletcher. And the stipulation for this match is if any member, and also, by the way, Kyle Fletcher is the current reigning AEW TNT champion. Now, this is a one-on-one match. And we know that Kyle Fletcher is a member of the Don Callis family. He has the Don Callis family as his backup. But the stipulation for this match is if any member of the Don Callis family interferes, Kyle Fletcher will be disqualified. And not only will he be disqualified, he will be stripped of his AEW TNT championship. Grava D, thanks for joining. Thanks for the positive vibes. Right back at you, bro. Hope all is well with you and yours. But yeah, that's what we have right now. So, Hangman Adam Page, the guy that unseated Jon Moxley after his nearly year, or I think more than a year, reign as AEW World Champion. He actually unseated Adam Page. He actually unseated Jon Moxley. But at the same time, Kyle Fletcher, there's no denying he's the future of AEW. The man's a future star. Remember, and like I said, it's crazy how he has put so much work in himself He went from being a member of Aussie Open, being a member of United Empire. And by the way, I want to know what's going on with Mark Dennis. Where is that guy? Why is he not being used? But he went from being a member of Aussie Open and United Empire to actually, reinventing himself. I mean, the man, joined the Don Callis family. He cut his hair, he shaved his head in the middle of the ring, and now he's repping that pink. That shows a lot of confidence. If you're a man, you can wear pink. That shows a lot of confidence. But then again, hey, teach his own. He has reinvented himself so much to now looking like a world title competitor. And that reminds me, I've seen, and I like to see it. I like to see when people actually just do a whole 180 and become something different. Like Triple H back in the day. Remember when he was, Shawn Michaels, sidekick or his little, his tag team partner that was, in the mid card. But then all of a sudden, the moment Shawn Michaels left, he retired briefly back in 1998. He stepped up. He became the leader of D-Generation X. He actually, started holding more singles titles. And then all of a sudden, he actually leveled up and, left DX and joined, the corporation. And then, he even changed his tights. He wore shorter tights and had a whole new entrance. And then he became the Game and became the legend that we all know him as now. That's what I see when I see Kyle Fletcher. So I'm going to be brave and say this. Kyle Fletcher's going to win. Kyle Fletcher is going to win. And it's going to be by interference. But you see, and you know why I'm saying that? Because it's not because of how do I put this in words I want to say? He's going to win by interference, but it's not, and it's not going to cost him. It's not going to cost him a thing, because you know why? The interference is going to come from a person who is not a member of the Don Callis family, and they're going to become a member the next day. So that's a legal loophole. It would not surprise me if, being the genius that Don Callis is, does that. He arranges that. Or he pays somebody to actually cost Hangman Adam Page that match. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be brave and say it right now. It's going to be the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks are going to cost Adam Page that title because they're not affiliated with the Don Callis family. They're not really affiliated with anybody. They're just the Young Bucks. They're on their own. They're not with any stable. They haven't been since the Elite. So I think they are going to cost Adam Page that title. That's what I'm going with. So, and I think the reason why they're going to do that is because, one, they don't rock with him anymore, and two, I guess the Don Callis family might owe him one because, Kazuchika Okada was with them, and then they let him join the Don Callis family. So that might be a favor. Wait. What am I saying? It might have something to do with. Okay, never mind. I kind of forgot, but I got a feeling it's going to be the Young Bucks. If not the Young Bucks, somebody that's not affiliated with the Don Callis family, is going to cost Adam Page that title. It's going to happen. My apologies for earlier with getting things confused. Sometimes my memory does not work as well, but yeah, that's who I'm going to go with. Kyle Fletcher, the Protostar, your new AEW World Champion. Anyways, with that being said, that's the card for AEW All Out. Those are my predictions. And with that being said, hey, if y'all have y'all own y'all's own comments and predictions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like I said, we'd like to hear your own predictions as to how this card is going to go. I don't have any general predictions. We're gonna see several returns. Maybe some betrayals, but we're gonna see. I don't think we're gonna see several returns. So yeah, I don't have no big general predictions, but I'm looking forward to seeing this card. And you know, like I said, hopefully it's not like last year where you had that syringe spot between Adam Page and um Swerve Strickland. Didn't really care for that, but that was a great match, except for that part. Great match otherwise. But yeah. With that being said, first off, I just want to thank everybody tuned in live today. Thank you very much. Um, it's always appreciated. But before I go into that, if you want to follow me on social media, not that I say a lot of cool things, but I do go to a lot of cool places. If everything goes right, I'll be in Indonesia. I'll be in Toronto next week and Indonesia next month. You can follow me and my adventures on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram at the Remy Blue all across the board. You can also follow me on Blue Sky at remyblue.bsky.social. And I'm also on Facebook as Remy Blue. Our podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Ringside Society, Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're also on Facebook as a Facebook group. We're also on Spotify and Teespring, where we sell official Ringside Society merchandise. We have T-shirts, we have hoodies, we even have coffee mugs for your favorite beverage. And last but not least, we have a YouTube channel where you can see great episodes like this one, like our recent one with Naomi King. All those great episodes you can see on YouTube. And to see them, it's really simple. It's not rocket science. It's not even pre-algebra. Just go on YouTube and type in Ringside Society. I want to see that really good looking dark blue and light blue yin yang sign with the blue flames around it. That's where you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up and you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. But like I was saying earlier before, I just want to thank everybody tuning live tonight. We really and truly appreciate it. We strive on being one of the best and realest wrestling podcasts a wrestling fan could, should, and would listen to. And we're not going to stop being that. To those of you that are going to listen later on and get a chance, thank you very much in advance. And those y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away. Well, like myself at Gordon Corral, we're not going anywhere for a while. And with that being said, we just want to let everybody know it's no secret. We see everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. So I'm going to say right now, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for AEW All Out. We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. And we'll be back. As a matter of fact, we're going to try to be back tomorrow with our WWE WrestlePalooza predictions. But until then, we just have 4 favors for y'all. Just 4. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and enjoy wrestling. We out. Peace.